Hello everybody, welcome back to the Newman Bond. My name is Jack Schaefer. I'm the Digital Community Coordinator here at Newman University, and I'm here with special guest David Akao, Strength and Conditioning Coach here at Newman, and he runs his own company, Empower Fitness. David, how are you doing today?
Great, thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Of course. No, could you run me through the start of your kind of strength and conditioning journey? I know that you started here with helping here when you were in your undergrad at Friends University. Can you kind of walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So started playing sports at a young age. Did football, basketball, track. Football was by far my favorite sport, but in middle school I was pretty undersized, and so I actually started lifting weights at the age of 12 in my mom's basement. Didn't really know what I was doing, just kind of followed a program online, but just fell in love with the process of getting better every workout. I felt like it really helped set me apart as a football player, especially once I got to high school. And once I got to high school, I knew I wanted to make this a career, and had a lot of great coaches that have poured into me over the years, and I wanted to have that same effect on athletes like I once was. And so I ended up going to Coffeyville Community College. I was a walk-on for the football team there, and I got my degree in health and physical education, and then transferred to Friends University, where again I continued my football career there. Got my degree in health and physical education, and then I also interned here while I was in my undergrad at Friends, and Newman was a really special place for me. It helped me grow as a coach. I had a really good mentor with the old strength coach that was here, and now I'm super blessed to, I'm here as an assistant athletic performance coach, and then I also run my own business, Empower, in addition to this, so it's really a blessing.
Yeah, you're a busy guy, it sounds. Well, first and foremost, I'm a big football fan. What position were you in football?
Middle linebacker.
Middle line? Okay, yep. So you can't be a small guy to be middle linebacker.
Nope. Yeah,
that's awesome.
I'm pretty undersized. I'm about 5'10", 5'11", so I had to fill out quite a bit, and I feel like the strength and the speed really helped set me apart.
Yeah, started in your mom's basement at 12 years old, so
yep.
you have been weightlifting for quite some time.
Yep.
That is awesome to hear. So on your fitness journey, if you could say that, what would you think would be the biggest impact? Would it be a mentor that really, really got you into this industry, or would it be your specific love for sports, or just both in general that kind of both your loves kind of met?
It was kind of both, kind of met at once. I felt like the biggest thing with lifting weights is not only was I getting stronger physically, but I also feel like it helped me mentally. Helped increase my self-confidence, and that was just huge. And I think that's something I really try to talk about with my younger athletes and high school and college athletes is it just helps you become a better person, lifting weights, adding 5 pounds to the bar every single workout. It's a lot like life. We want to get 1% better every single day, and just the effect that it had on my mental health, like it really was a game changer for me.
Yeah, I love that motto, getting 1% better every day, seeing those weights add up over time. It really is awesome. So you mentioned that you also coach not only college athletes here at Newman specifically, but you coach younger athletes as well. So what are the age ranges that you coach? And I've seen you coach classes and one-on-one training. So how do those two differ from one another?
It's pretty different. It's different in some type of ways, but at the same time, we're still utilizing the fundamentals of strength and conditioning and still being a positive mentor to athletes, whether it's youth or college age. I get a really good variety every week. I've trained kids as young as 5 years old, elementary age, middle school. I do some, like you said, some group classes. And then when I'm here, it's team sessions where it could be up to 30 athletes in one session. I do have a lot of one-on-ones throughout the day where you get a little bit of a slower change of pace. And sometimes I do train also adults, like the general population. So that's what I love about it. I do love the change of pace and the variety that I get every week. But at the end of the day, it really is kind of the same goal, teaching athletes the fundamentals of strength conditioning, helping them become better athletes, but also better human beings in the process.
Sure. Now, what's the difference, obviously, like in terms of weight they can lift or specific training they're doing with the younger audience or with your younger clients? Now, what do you see in them, and how does your coaching kind of change from a younger audience to those college athletes who can handle a little bit more?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing too in the private sector is, you're kind of working for the clients or the parents. Like the parents are the ones that are paying you every month, whereas here at Newman, I'm lucky Newman pays me, and so the athletes aren't paying me here. So you can be a little bit more strict here. Obviously they're college age, so they're a little bit more used to that. Whereas these youth kids, they're just getting started. So with youth, you really have to make it fun. A lot of times we do games or obstacle courses, just basic things to get them moving and familiar with their body. Whereas here, college, we can be a little bit more advanced. So I'd say that's probably the biggest difference between training youth athletes and college athletes.
Gotcha. What do you think the difference between actually like their output when it comes to their matches, their performances? So do these kids come back to you and tell you, hey, I really wish I could be faster, more agile, more strong? So you kind of tailor it to those specific athletes? Or when it comes, and how's that change in the group setting, I guess?
Yeah.
With the 30, because I'd assume that would be insane to coach 30 athletes, their conditioning and strength coach.
Absolutely. So. Well, a big thing is collaborating with the sport coach. So, talking with, the women's basketball coach and the soccer coach, and meeting them before or after the season, and, kind of identifying their strengths and weaknesses, and really tailoring the program to that specific sport. So, for example, volleyball, it's a lot of shoulder health, vertical jump, stuff like that. Baseball might be a little bit more rotational core, still shoulder health, stuff like that. So it really comes down to, collaborating with the sport coach, understanding the demands of the sports, and also, getting feedback from the athletes is crucial as well, and watching them compete, and, maybe you notice some things while they're competing, and then you can tailor that program to that team.
Yeah, and it sounds like a rewarding process because you get to see them be better. Do you have any specific stories where specific athlete stories? You don't have to name any names if you don't want to, but where you've seen them grow from point A to point B. And could you just tell me a little bit about maybe an anecdotal story?
Absolutely. Yeah, I have a lot of different stories I could tell. One that comes to mind is actually the very first high school athlete I ever started training. He was a football player, a little undersized, didn't get a ton of playing time, so we started training, and he was a real quiet kid at first, didn't really say much to me, but he kept on coming back, and over time he started opening up to me more, and we started just building a really good relationship. I feel like he looked up to me as a mentor and a role model, and he put on a lot of weight, probably put on maybe around 25 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And he entered his senior year. I went to some of his games, and actually still to this day we talk. He uses me as a reference for jobs. He actually just entered the military, and right before he entered the military, we talked on the phone a little bit, and so to me that was the perfect story for me. Is that's an athlete that we built kind of a lifelong relationship with.
Yeah, it's more than just what you teach. It's like the relationships you're actually building throughout the process,
Absolutely.
Which is really cool. So speaking of relationships, if there is a specific person out there watching this right now that's interested in becoming a strength and conditioning coach or doing something similar to your path, what would you tell them?
I would say number one, try to find a mentor. So I was really lucky. I had a great mentor here when I started as an intern. So internships are a great way to get your feet wet. You're kind of working for free most of the time, but you're getting that experience, and you're getting somebody to mentor and guide you through the process. And then number 2 is just try to get as much experience as you can. Whether it's training the general population, training youth athletes, high school or college age, just getting repetitions, building coaching confidence, I think is really important. Number 3, I would say just have a growth mindset, be open to learning, read books, listen to podcasts, network, because that's the best way to learn, especially in strength conditioning. Things are always changing and evolving, so you gotta keep learning to stay ahead.
Yeah, speaking of that evolution there, how has the game, the strength and conditioning game per se, how has it evolved since you were younger?
Absolutely.
And in high school when you said you really knew you wanted to do this?
Yeah, 2 things I can think of. Number 1 is I think a lot of high school strength conditioning programs are still kind of ran by an old school football coach. You do your heavy bench press, your heavy deadlifts, heavy squats, and maybe there's a time and place for that, but that doesn't always tailor to every single athlete or every single sport. So, I think these days, single leg training is becoming a lot more popular, just to eliminate muscle imbalances. We're constantly getting new equipment, safety squat bars, stuff like that may be a little bit more beneficial than just the classic barbell. And then technology is evolving. There's things that can track your bar speed, how fast you're lifting.
Oh, cool.
Things like that. So those are the biggest changes that I'm seeing.
Yeah, with the new technology, speaking of that, so Newman just upgraded in the weight room we are currently in right now. They upgraded about a year ago, right? So how has that helped your process in the training, in the strength and conditioning?
Yeah, the weight room's come a long way. We've gotten new flooring, new racks. I think the biggest thing is it's got everything we need. There's nothing really fancy about the weight room. We don't have a ton of space, but we've got our barbells, we've got dumbbells, bands, pretty much everything you need to train at a high level. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I would say is just we have all the essentials to make those gains.
Awesome. Now, through your personal business, through Empower Training, you train here in Wichita, Kansas at Foundations Fitness, correct?
Yep, correct.
Awesome. Now, is the dream to get your own gym eventually, or do you like moving around? Do you like kind of being able to be mobile?
As of now, I do enjoy the change of pace that I get, coming from being in a college weight room to, a private gym. I think down the road, I've always had that vision of opening up my own facility, but a lot of work, a lot of money, a lot of energy, a lot of time goes into that.
Lots of things, for sure.
I think that's something that I do envision down the road, but time will tell when that will happen. But
yeah. Well, speaking of down the road, you almost took the next question right out of my mouth. So what do you see Empower Training and specifically your journey in 5-10 years maybe?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's a tough question too.
I know, it's a difficult one. I don't mean to put you right on the spot here.
No, I try to take it one day at a time. Just be the best coach and trainer that I can be every day. We've got sport camps that we host. Actually, next week from now, we have a volleyball camp that we're hosting here at Newman.
Cool.
And camps have been really good. It's just an awesome way to bring athletes together and kind of have a community vibe. And so I envision those continuing to grow. We'll do more of those. I do kind of envision maybe having some trainers that work for Empower, and trying to be more of a mentor and a leader to help them get their career started, and just continuing to impact a lot of lives every single day. That's my goal.
Yeah, so I assume you need help with these, especially like these bigger groups and these camps that you're talking about. So how do you find that help? I'm sure you are well aware of all the trainers around town or athletes around town.
Yeah.
Who do you seek help from, and how does that process work?
Yeah, great question. I have a lot of I call them guest coaches that will come in and help with these camps. So I've had some, Wichita State athletes help out with, basketball camps or volleyball camps. Or else just I know some people, some former college football friends that will help out with my football camps. But really, I look for people that, number one, are passionate about helping youth athletes. Number two, and a big one is just are they good with kids? Because a lot of these are youth camps, so I feel like you don't have to go super in depth with your coaching, but you got to have the patience and the soft skills and the communication to be able to work with youth athletes. And then I like finding people that are either currently playing or else have played in the past, just because they know what it takes to compete at a high level, and for them to be able to share that with youth athletes, or even just kind of be that role model for them, somebody for them to look up to. I think can go a long way for those youth athletes.
Yeah, I was going to say, when I had those type of summer training camps and everything like that, it was always so cool to have a local athlete there. Like, I looked up to them. I'm like, oh my gosh, like,
yes.
I've seen this person play their sport. So that's I'm sure that's very inspiring to the youth community that you coach. When it comes to the youth community, are there any difficulties? Obviously, you got to make it a little bit more fun. Do you have any, maybe kind of like we mentioned earlier with the success story with the football player who became, or who is in the military now? Do you have a youth success story? Because I know kids can be hard, man. I know kids can be really, really tough.
Yeah, the biggest one I can think of is, and this is most of my youth athletes, sometimes they may be a little bit nervous about coming to the gym, which is completely fine.
Yeah, it's daunting.
It's a little scary, for sure. It is, but one of the most rewarding parts I see is when we do an hour session and kids don't want to leave. They just want to keep playing, and their parents have to drag them out of the gym. And I've had a lot of parents that will text me, about how their kids are begging to get back in the gym with me, or they'll talk about training outside of the gym, and that's super rewarding. Is just seeing, especially with the youth athletes, is seeing them fall in love with training at such a young age, because I'm a big believer. The earlier we can get them started, it's going to pay off in the long run.
Yeah, well, that's you just very much so resonated with me, because when I was younger, I went to the gym to get a trainer originally just to train for soccer, strength and conditioning for soccer, and then that started my journey of going to the gym every single day. So you're doing just wonderful work, and the mentorship that it takes to be in the position you are in, it's just amazing. So that is awesome that you're doing that. So I saw on your website that not only are you a trainer, but you are a self-proclaimed foodie.
Yes.
So, my man, David,
absolutely.
What's your favorite food?
I love the food spots we have in Wichita. I love brunch. I'm a big fan of homegrown.
Homegrown's good.
Absolutely. I feel like you can't beat a good burger and French fries. Tor Brewery, I think here in town is pretty good. They have a good smash burger. And Texas Roadhouse is another favorite of mine.
Yeah.
So
do you have a specific favorite dish that maybe it can be restaurant or something you make yourself or your family makes? Do you have something that really sticks out to you that you're like, I could have that every single day?
That's tough. I do like Chipotle.
Chipotle is good.
I feel like it's decently healthy, especially depending on what you decide to choose.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really good post-workout meal most of the time.
What protein do you get? Because I'm a big steak guy.
Me too.
Steak's the only way I go.
Same here.
Yeah, and you got to get the double scoop too sometimes with that extra protein.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So talking a little bit more about your life outside of the weight room and strength and conditioning, what do you like to do? What are your hobbies?
Yeah, well, training keeps me really busy, but I'm lucky my family is here in Wichita. My brother Damien was an alumni here, and so hang out with them every so often. Got my girlfriend Gabby, who also was a Newman alum.
The Newman community in your life is all around.
It is, absolutely it is. And yeah, like you said, trying new food spots. I just got into DJing, so.
Oh, okay. Like you yourself are DJing? Okay, sweet.
So learning that, it's been nice. It's been cool because it's got a lot like training. You're not very good at first, but the more you practice, the more repetitions you get. just the better you become. So
Yeah. So are you gonna make some mixes for your clients, or for like to play in the background while you're working out?
We'll see. Yeah, I'm hoping to get there. But
hey, that can be a higher tier. You know, like you're like, all right, if you want your own customized playlist, I got you for a little bit extra money. That's awesome. So while we're coming to a close here, what is the one piece of advice that you would just give a young student athlete that might be struggling, that maybe just like your anecdote from earlier with the guy who was a little smaller, kind of quiet, and then kind of really came into his own? What would you give those athletes that are on the fringe roster spots that like really want to get more playing time, etc.? What would you tell them?
Yeah, it might sound cliche, but you know, be passionate. Be the hardest worker in the room and never give up. That's probably the biggest things. I mean, I'm a big believer. If you do the little things right, you know, people will eliminate themselves. You know, things like showing up on time, being a great teammate. Those are things you really can't teach. You know, and so you can measure size, you can measure jump, stuff like that, but you really can't measure passion. So
yeah. That's a great way to put it. I think that's a great way to end it as well. Well, that was the Newman Bond. Thank you so much, David, for being a part of it, and thanks for letting us come into the gym and film. We wanted to make sure to get in the environment that you are, your strength and conditioning coach. So thank you again, audience, for watching. We come out with episodes every first and third Tuesday of the month. So stay tuned for those. You just watched the Newman Bond. Thank you so much.
I get a lot more blessings out of it.
Really fun experience.